Check this out.
And now, from Louisville, Kentucky, the horse capital of the world and sports junkies' finest, giving you wagering advice and sports analysis. It's On The Switch with your host, GenoG.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On The Switch show. I'm your host, as always, GenoG. The guy holding it down on the back end, the producer of the show, the one who gets no credit but should get all of the credit. That's my man, Trav. What up, Trav?
How's it going?
So today, here at On The Switch show, we're going to be talking about the 2018 PGA Championship from Bellerive in St. Louis, Missouri. The 2017 champion, Justin Thomas, just won the WGC Bridgestone by 4 shots. He seems to be one of the favorites, sitting right now at 12-1. Actually moved Tiger Woods off the 12-1 co-favorite and moving him down to 15-1 as Justin Thomas now jumps up to 12-1. I wanted to give you all a little bit background information when it comes to Bellerive. It hasn't been on the PGA Tour since 1992. Which means none of the players here have actually played an event at this venue, which I deem super important. Reason being, everybody's on a fair playing field. No one has a certain advantage. It's not like Tiger Woods going to Firestone, right, where he's won 8 times. It's not like him going to Torrey Pines where he's won 8 times. This is a fair game for everybody. And to be honest, when you're actually looking at this course, it's a fairway and green kind of course. So hit a lot of fairways, you'll hit a lot of greens, and you'll have tons of putts for birdie. The biggest issue will be on the green. Guys like Luke List, who is, I want to say, top 3 strokes gained from tee to green. A guy like that is going to struggle on greens like these. They're very undulated. There's not going to be a level putt. If you're on the wrong side of the hole, deep trouble. Could easily be a 3-putt. So you want a guy, tee to green, that's good, but he's also good on the greens. And I don't want to get any further without giving you what will be my top pick, and that's Jordan Spieth. I know Jordan Spieth didn't play well last week at the Bridgestone, but if you take what he was able to do at the British Open, if you apply that this week at Bellerive, this guy is going to be impossible to beat, especially if he can get that putter rolling like he did in the first 3 days at Carnoustie. Jordan Spieth, he is 15-1 currently. He was 20-1, but now he's 15-1 to win this week, and he will be my top pick. I know it's a little chalky, but I think the guy's able to hit 3-woods, irons, drivers, whatever he wants to hit off the tee. If he hits fairways like he did at Carnoustie, he'll hit a ton of greens, and I'm telling you, there is no guy who can go lower on the PGA Tour when he hits fairways and greens than Jordan Spieth. Again, Jordan Spieth, our top selection at 15-1. I want to give you some of the more important notes when it comes, in my opinion at least, when it comes to Bellerive and having success at Bellerive. I think the first thing is going to be driving distance. Reason being, whether you hit a 3-iron off the tee, a driving iron, a 3-wood, a hybrid, a driver, it doesn't matter. At Bellerive, it's only 7,400 yards. And really, when you look at some of the holes are super short, including like number 2, 407 yards. Number 7, 395. Number 9, 436. You take even holes like 11, 361. 14 is 412. These holes are going to be driver or 3-woods. For some players, even like guys like Rory McIlroy or Justin Thomas, right? They'll hit long irons off the tee and they'll have flip wedges in. On a course like this, it's going to be all about if you can hit fairways. You take the final round at Bridgestone, the last 4 or 5 groups, those guys struggled to hit the fairway. If they do what they did this past week in the final round, they'll shoot 75 on a course where 65 should be the norm. What is great about Bellerive is the fact that even for the longer guys, there are fairway bunkers that come in play almost every single hole. If you're in those fairway bunkers, you're dead to rights. You can't have a clean shot, get it out of there, put it within 15, 20 feet of the hole for a birdie. It's just not happening. They're deep. They're very hilly, undulated, so you're not going to get a level lie, even in the bunker. It's going to be extremely difficult for these guys to hit fairway bunkers and somehow make birdies from those spots. I will say the par 5s seem, I don't want to say reachable, because there are some long ones, including 606, 608, 562, and 517 are super short, but there are some crazy little creeks that run through to where you might have to lay up. If you don't lay up, if you're going for it, it's going to be you have to hit one of the best shots that you can, because there's nowhere really to bail. driving distance I think is going to be important because guys like Rory, Finau, List, the longer guys on tour, Justin Thomas, these guys will be able to hit 3-woods, hybrids, long irons, and still have flip wedges in. That gives these guys huge advantages when it comes to birdie chances, getting the ball close to the hole because as we said, the greens are going to be super undulated. So I would look for those guys to be in prime position to make birdies. Will they? I don't know. Next, I like driving accuracy, and we touched base on this just in the first few minutes here. There are fairway bunkers everywhere on this course. Everywhere. So if you're not hitting the ball in the fairway, I'm telling you, you're going to be in trouble. You will make bogeys on a course that is super short for the guys on the PGA Tour. So guys like Henrik Stenson, Ryan Moore, a guy like Kyle Stanley, who's seemed to play super well, including the British Open where he finished in the top 10. Last week, he was right there at Bridgestone. Those guys, Stenson especially. Stenson, tee to green, there's not really that many people better. He hits tons of fairways and he hits tons of greens. That's a guy that can really go super low here at Bellerive, minus the fact that he can't putt. He gets that putter going, look out. Henrik Stenson could easily blow this field away. It could be wire to wire from start to finish. He could just absolutely crush this week. Next, and again, we just touched on this, tee to green. I think strokes gained, tee to green is important. Reason being because I think once you get on the greens are so undulated, so hilly, you're not going to get a straight up the hill putt or a putt that's just going to be right edge or left edge. You're not going to get those putts. They're going to be curvy. Guys like DJ, Stenson, Justin Thomas, Francisco Molinari, who won the British Open. Luke List even. Luke List is a crazy guy in this particular field that can get off the tee, onto the green. It's just a matter if he can make a putt. If he can make a putt, the guy can go super low as well. With guys like Stenson and List, they're not going to give away strokes off the tee and approach shots to the green. They're not going to give away shots. Where they'll give away shots is around the green, getting up and down, and putting. So look out if you're playing DraftKings, FanDuel, any of those kind of tournaments where it's a salary cap, even if you have friends and you do drafts or something like that, and you have to go super deep. Look for a guy like Luke List who will be around 6,700, 6,800, 6,900. A guy that you can use, save cap to get some of these top guys like Dustin Johnson who's on fire, Justin Thomas who's on fire, a guy like Rory that maybe you like, take a chance on Rory. A guy like Stenson, if you feel like maybe this week Stenson, this is his week, guy like that. I want to take a look at also putting because putting, when it comes to Bellerive, the greens are going to tell the story. Whoever is first in putting will probably win this week. And who better putting-wise, and now the fact that he was actually hitting good shots minus Sunday of last week at Bridgestone, than Jason Day. Jason Day was super impressive all week besides Sunday. Still putted the ball well, although he missed one inside 10 feet, which seems to never happen. But if you need a 10-footer to win a tournament, it's going to be Jason Day. Jason Day just doesn't miss from that range. Although these are undulated, this is going to fit right into his wheelhouse, which includes Phil Mickelson as well. Although I think fairways are important. So I don't like Phil this week, but if he's hitting fairways and he's hitting greens, once he gets to the green, look out. I mean, this guy can do everything on and around the green. I just don't know if he can hit enough fairways and greens to contend this week. As a matter of fact, hot take. Travis, you can write this down. Hot take. Phil Mickelson will not make the cut this week. Phil Mickelson will not make the cut this week. Hot take. There's another guy that I like a little bit who kind of flies under the radar. He's 40-1 right now. Some places you can even get 50-1. That's Alexander Noren. Alexander Noren was a guy that we liked in the British Open. Didn't really show up. But Alexander Noren, one of the top putters on tour, this will fit right in his wheelhouse. He's a good ball striker. He's actually really good off the tee, and he's super long. So when you take a guy like Alexander Noren, who if he can put the entire package together, you wonder if can he close out a tournament. That's the biggest thing. Can he close out a tournament? He might have the chance this week. He could be one of my long shots to win. Now, if it wasn't about fairways and greens, like it is almost every week, I think it's super important this week as we touched on. But the next biggest thing is par threes. And Justin Thomas just yesterday touched on it after his practice round, in which on the 18th hole in front of a crowd of about 1,000 people, 147 yards. He flips a wedge in there. I think it was maybe 3 feet past the hole, to a little bit to the right of the hole. It spins right back into the hole. Boom. Hole's out. He actually gives it the whole and one sign, to the crowd. Like, you see what I can do? But Justin Thomas touched on it after his practice round by saying, par threes will dictate who does well this week. Interesting that he says that because number 3 is only 165 yards, but it's all carry 165. There's water in front of the green, all carry 165. They put that pin front, you could see some balls in the water. Otherwise, should be a fairly easy hole. After that, though, go to number 6 and it's 215 yards. And we all know when you get to that 200, 225 range, it's extremely tough. Extremely tough. So number 6, 215. Number 13, they can get it all the way back to 200 yards. It's listed at 185, but they can get it all the way back to 200. And then you have 16. One of the most interesting holes, and will be one of the most interesting holes all week. Number 16 is listed at 234. They can get it all the way back to 242. They put that pin back, and they have those tees set back. You're talking about it could be 250 yards to the hole. That makes for an interesting par 3. And as Justin Thomas put it, this will dictate what could possibly happen this week, par 3 scoring. So when you look at par 3 scoring on the PGA Tour, Chesson Hadley's right there. Phil Mickelson right there. DJ, of course, he's like top 10 basically in every category. Mark Leishman, Tommy Fleetwood, Patton Kizzire, Brooks Koepka. Some of these names you could see, especially a guy like Brooks Koepka, who putts well on tough greens, does strike the ball well, played well last week, can go super low. That's a guy that you might want to keep an eye on. So watch for the par 3s being super important this week as to what might dictate who finishes in the top 10, the top 5, and including the winner. To get back to my selections, we'll take Jordan Spieth number 1. I think he's heading in the right direction. The confidence boost, although a horrific Sunday at the British Open, he's now primed to finish off his last major that he doesn't have, that being the PGA Championship. I think he can now hold all 4 majors by winning this week. I think he will level out his driver, and although that's not to say that there's going to be many drivers hit, but I think he can hit fairways. He'll hit some greens, and when it gets to the green, it's all about whether or not he makes putts. If he makes putts, he's going to go low. If he doesn't make putts, it's going to be a struggle. Maybe he's a little bit hit or miss, but I think this particular setup sets up super well for him. So I'll take Jordan Spieth number 1. Number 2 is a guy that I'm also going back to the British Open with, and that's Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood and what he did on Sunday at the British Open to finish just one shot behind. I love the fact that he can go super low any day, and I think that's important at Bellerive. Now, wind can gust up. There could be some inclement weather this upcoming weekend, so things can change a little bit. But what he did Sunday and how low he can go anywhere, whether it's, at the British Open, at the U.S. Open, he's a guy that can go out and shoot 64, 63, 65 any day, every day. This could be his time. I'll take Tommy Fleetwood second, including the fact, and we touched base on this just a little bit ago. Fleetwood, when it comes to par 3 and birdies on par 3s, he ranks number 5 on the PGA Tour. Number 5 on PGA Tour par 3 birdies. Something to note. Again, he gets it rolling on the greens. Watch out. Interesting third choice here, and I am going to go with a guy. Pat Mayo will love this. I like Luke List this week. I know he's going to be a long shot. I think he's 66-1, could be 75-1, but I like Luke List this week. Tee to green, you're hard pressed to find anybody better than Luke List. So I'm going to bank on the fact that he'll roll in some putts. He rolls in some putts, it's game over. I like how in this sort of setup, he doesn't have to hit driver. And if he does hit driver, which he is accurate, by the way, he's very accurate with his driver. He can set up just little baby flip wedges in. Maybe he has just a bunch of 8-footers that he has to make. I know he struggles from that range. I get it. I understand. But I'm going to bank on the fact that Luke List, yes, that's right, Luke List is going to do better this week, make a few putts, and make a run. I like him especially first round leader. I like him for something like top 10, top 5. I think this is a really, really good bet, Luke List. What's also interesting, and a guy that I really can't, I just can't understand why he fails late, especially in majors, and that's Mark Leishman. Mark Leishman, first 3 rounds, he's incredible. As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if he's the number one player bet to lead the first round this week. First round, second round, he always seems to be there. Then it comes to the weekend, he just kind of throws a dud out there. I don't like him this week, but if you're looking, again, for another cheaper guy when it comes to DraftKings, if you're playing the Millie Maker, Mark Leishman is a guy that can gain a lot of points early. He's going to be there. I don't know if he can get it done. I think he'll fade when it comes to the weekend, but perhaps if he continues on, he could be a guy that you want to use because he's going to finish top 5. I don't think he can win, but I think he's a guy who can finish really high. Along with that is Tony Finau. You look at the first 3 majors this year. How can you possibly say, besides, obviously a couple of guys, which includes Patrick Reed, how can you find a guy who's done better in majors this year than Tony Finau? Including that incredible run at Augusta in the Masters with that foot. Tony Finau's long. He's accurate. He's a good putter. He's not the best scrambler around the green, which is a little bit concerning around here because the greens are so undulated. If you're not hitting greens, you're going to struggle to get the ball up and down. But he's a good putter, especially from 8 feet and in. Watch out for Tony Finau this week. I like Tony Finau, especially top 10. I think it could be one of the best bets this week, Tony Finau. I also like the fact his group, if you can get group bets, for the threesome on Thursdays and Fridays, I think Tony Finau is a lock. Lock and key. Tony Finau to win his group, be the lowest round on Thursday, especially Friday. Depending on how everybody else plays, he could be an overwhelming favorite on Friday. But I definitely love him on Thursday, opening round for low man of his threesome. Lastly, I'm going to go with a guy, and this is a guy who won the U.S. Open, was our top selection in the U.S. Open, and that's Brooks Koepka. We touched base on him as far as par 3 scoring. One of the tops on the PGA Tour in par 3 scoring. He's a tremendous putter. He's a tremendous putter under pressure. He's won majors. He knows what it takes. And on a course that he doesn't have to hit driver, the guy is super long as it is. He's a great wedge player. He's a great low and mid iron player. There is no reason why he shouldn't play well this week. And I love Brooks Koepka to finish top 5, top 3 even. I'm only going to put money on Jordan Spieth to win, but Brooks Koepka could be a solid second choice as a win bet at 25-1. I like Brooks Koepka this week. As far as a long shot, I don't know what everybody's looking for. You want to look at guys like, I don't know, Justin Thomas. I know he's not a long shot, but look at guys like Justin Thomas. Everybody wants Ricky Fowler to win. John Rahm has a big chance just because he's super long, good wedge player, can get that putter rolling. I don't like Francisco Molinari this week. I think he's a big fade for me. What's interesting is Paul Casey. Paul Casey played pretty well last week. He can get that putter rolling. I don't like Xander. I don't like Tiger, although this should fit Tiger's eye. There's no reason why Tiger can't play well this week. But for whatever reason, I think he might even be a little bit tired. I don't know if he would ever admit that, but I think first season back, the tournaments that he's played, the pressure that he had in the British Open, then qualifying and playing this past week, he did not play very well, especially Saturday and Sunday. I think this is a guy that's a little bit tired. I'm going to fade him this week. I don't like guys like Webb Simpson and Louis Oosthuizen. I think Joaquin Niemann could be interesting. He's a young guy, hits it long, hits it straight, very good putter, underrated putter, very good putter. Niemann could be interesting. But as my long shot, and I don't know if you can necessarily consider him a quote-unquote long shot, but I love Bryson DeChambeau this week. Bryson DeChambeau. I don't really know why. I think because so many times this year on the PGA Tour, he's gotten the ball rolling. He's had so many low scores, including, I think it was minus 24 to win a tournament this year. So you know the guy can go out there and shoot 64. Bryson DeChambeau, the last time that I saw was 66-1 to win. 66-1 for Bryson DeChambeau. I hate using the same term over and over and over again. But Bryson DeChambeau is a guy who can hit shots from the fairway, and although the shot looks impossible to get close, he can get the ball close to the hole, and when he gets close to the hole, he makes a lot of putts. He's not a guy that's going to make a bunch of 20-footers. He needs to put the ball close, But I believe that Bryson DeChambeau, if I had to put my money on something as a long shot, not a guy's 15, 20 to 1, but a long shot to win, I like Bryson DeChambeau. I'm looking up the current odds of Bryson DeChambeau. Give me just 1 second here. It looks like, yep, right now, Bryson DeChambeau is 66 to 1. He hasn't changed since yesterday. Neiman, 66 to 1 as well. Look at some of the guys that maybe are a little bit outside looking in. Look at guys like Kevin Kisner, who's 80 to 1. Guy can really go low. I don't know if he can finish just like the British Open. I think he would falter under that kind of pressure. But he's a winner on the PGA Tour. Ben On's another guy that can go super low. He was the one that was going shot for shot with DJ in the Canadian Open. He's 80 to 1. Kyle Stanley, who we talked about. This is what's interesting. Take a guy like Kyle Stanley who's just on fire. He's on fire. He's 80 to 1 to win this week. How about taking last week into account, a guy that finished super strong? What about Thornborn Olsen? He's 80 to 1. And I can't ever forget about my man, Charlie Hoffman, Green Glove. What's interesting about Hoffman is nobody makes more birdies on the PGA Tour in a year than Charlie Hoffman. Period. End of story. And everybody knows it. He can go low, super low. Charlie Hoffman's 100 to 1. After that, I'm going to struggle. Ryan Moore, I think, could possibly have an outside chance at 100 to 1. JB Holmes is always interesting at 125 to 1. Although, if you're going to take a guy or guys at 125 to 1, how about a guy like Rafa Cabrera-Bello? He's been there every single major this year. He's 125 to 1. With him at 125 to 1 is one of the long hitters on the PGA Tour and Billy Horschel. But if you want a guy that is like way off the map, write this down because this is going to be super important. Super long shot, 175 to 1. Aaron Wise, 175 to 1 to win this week. I'm going to put a few dollars on Aaron Wise to win. I think it is time that a unknown guy wins a major. Right, we had Patrick Reed. Everybody knows Patrick Reed, right? He's the dick of the tour. Then you have Brooks Koepka. He wins back-to-back U.S. Opens. We know Brooks Koepka. Although he plays more on the European Tour, or now is playing more on the PGA Tour, Francisco Molinari, he wins the British Open. But I think for the most part, everybody knows who Francisco Molinari is. If you went up to a random person and say, hey, do you know who Aaron Wise is? People are going to be like, who? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Aaron Wise. You know who Aaron Wise is? No? Oh, yeah.
Never heard of him.
Right. There you go. Aaron Wise, 175 to 1 as a super long shot. So for me, it's going to be pretty simple. 3 bets to win. That's going to be Jordan Spieth, 15 to 1. Bryson DeChambeau, 66 to 1. And Aaron Wise, 175 to 1. You could look at Finau and List as top 10, top 5, top 3 kind of guys. I think Jason Day is a little bit interesting just because of how well he played last week. But I like guys like DJ, Justin Thomas, again, Jordan Spieth. For the top end guys in DraftKings, you're looking for some of the lower level guys. Luke List is 150 to 1 to win this week. That's a guy that you probably want to use on DraftKings. I think he will be more on the highly owned side, but I think is a safe bet. Aaron Wise, if you're looking to be top heavy in your DraftKings lineup, use Aaron Wise. Aaron Wise is going to save you so much money, yet could return one of the biggest profits and could be the key guy to win you the Million Maker. Aaron Wise. He's 175 to 1 to win this week. Safe guys, I like Noren. Noren's a safe play. I think he'll finish top 15. I think Brooks Koepka is another guy finished top 15. He's not going to do anything. I don't necessarily know if he can win, but he can definitely get it rolling. I think Mark Leishman, again, we touched on it a little bit earlier when we brought him up. Mark Leishman's a guy that if you feel like he can play on the weekend, you want to use him in DraftKings because you know he's going to be there in the first 2 rounds. Will he sustain it through the weekend? I don't know. History says no, but at some point you would think that he would just go on with it. This could be that week. Mark Leishman as well. Those will be my selections this week for the PGA Championship, the last major of 2018. So many things are going to change next season with changing of tournaments, times, dates, and those kind of things. So keep an eye on that, and we'll touch base with you all about that. I want to urge everybody, go over to our Twitter at OnTheSwitch1. Follow us there. After that, iOS and Android. We're on all the platforms on the Switch. Look us up, follow us, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. How about then after that, go over to YouTube. We're getting ready to start live YouTube videos. You all need to be a part of this. It's going to be insane. Don't miss out. So go to YouTube, subscribe to this there, hit the bell, leave a comment. We love to talk about anything that you all want to talk about. I know we touched base last time that we're going to talk about Big 12, Big 10. We're leaving it up to you all. I'll leave it up to you all again. Which one do you want to hear first? We're going to be doing both this week, perhaps also next week. But we're getting really, really close to college football season. I want to get this stuff out there so you all can listen and place your all's bets before the season starts. You'll hear us possibly next episode or the episode after talking about Urban Meyer again at Ohio State. What odds, what happens now? Is he going to get fired? Is he not going to get fired? We haven't heard anything yet. With that, how do their odds change? We'll talk about that in the next episode. But for now, Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, Aaron Wise, 15-1, 66-1, and 175-1 to win the 2018 PGA Championship as my selections to win this week. From Travis and I here in Louisville, Kentucky, and everybody involved with On The Switch Show, I'm your host, GenoG. As always, we love you all and stay with us.
On the Switch.